Well, hey there team, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to my overview of the Brew Barons. So I do reviews and overviews on the channel. Overviews being the first 2 hours of the game. I basically play it and render a bit of a soft verdict. So that way I can give you a bit of a gentle idea of whether it's worth buying, refunding, all that sort of stuff. And it helps me figure out what I want to review going forward, since I've only got so many hours in the day. Let me just say this loud and clear. This game, so far, is brilliant. I am loving the potential. Everything about this is just so wonderful and wholesome and clean, and it's very hard to believe that it's only developed by something like ridiculous, like 2 dudes or something like that, maybe a couple of extra people helping out as well. Tragically, and I can't talk about embargoes, but given when it's released, I'm not going to be able to review it right now, so I will give it the big ups that it deserves, and hopefully in a lull further in the year, this is going to be near to the top of my review list. So, high praise straight out the bat. If you take my word for anything, this is worth checking out. At first blush, you can see it looks very much like Valkyria Chronicles art style, and it's evocative of that. It also has one of the best soundtracks that I've heard this year, these symphonic, early age of flight come pulp come superhero type music, very much making me think of Indiana Jones or The Rocketeer and all these things that are very near and dear to my heart. So the entire world aesthetic really does channel that pioneering time that honestly has been laid out fairly well in something like Valkyria Chronicles. So it's wearing its inspiration on its sleeve, and it's done a brilliant job of taking an art style and aesthetic and putting it into something totally different. The game, as I can tell, is broadly twofold. One, you're cruising around in a relatively hardcore flight sim. From what I understand, it's kind of close to, say, War Thunder. I tried the thumbstick controls and I didn't love them. You can use HOTAS. I stuck with the more arcadey mouse flight controls, and that worked quite well, but it limits your fidelity. I'm not actually against kind of hardcore dogfighting and that sort of thing. It's a bit unusual. People might not know about me, but I really got into Elite Dangerous and some pretty hardcore cockpit fighting. So maybe I can put this into first person and give it a bit of a go, but it does feel a lot of the way that the game works and the mechanics that it wants to be a bit more arcadey in third person, but the mechanics are a little bit more hardcore. You have to be careful how you fly. It is a seaplane. If you land too fast, you'll take damage. You can wreck your plane. You have to pay repair bills and all that. You can stall your engine. So it sort of sits in this middle ground. Not super casual, but not exactly a hardcore sim. And it's cool, actually. It works really well. It makes the flight model interesting and engaging. So that's one layer. You're this sort of burgeoning new company. You've got your plane, you hire on crew. It's all voice acted. It's all, like I said, wholesome. All the interplay. It's, never mean-spirited or vulgar or anything like that. It is very much channeling kind of the essence of like a JRPG. You're in this region that is beset by the brew pirates. All of this game is about brewing, which you probably wouldn't realize at first. You go, oh, I thought it was an airplane game. No, half of it's an airplane game. The other half is this very, old school Disney overarching story of this villainous group of pirates that are forcing people to buy and peddle their poor quality brews. So it's like it's a beer fermenting simulator, and you go around, you collect all your ingredients, and you have different weapons, different tools to pick them up. So you've got like a water gun that you can shoot bloody apples out of trees, and you can bring that back for cider. There are like potatoes that you can put in, honey, I think wheat. You can fly through wheat fields and use your propeller to harvest and chop, so low flying maneuvers. Like, who would have thought a recipe farm gathering simulator type thing, because that's what you're essentially getting is different crops, but in a bloody biplane with water powered weapons. Like, all of this sounds just wild. Who could come up with this? Well, obviously some very talented individuals, because it works really well. All the mechanics synergize. It's very engaging. Like, you can't just pull up potato plants. You have to drop water bombs on them, and it dislodges them, and then you scoop them up, and I'm like, that's good enough. That makes enough sense in this weird world to me. And then you bring it all back, and you've got like a whole 3-story base. You've got a bar at the top where you can sell your goods. So selling your goods is more secondary. You more trade the the brews that you brew out to other local establishments, and they'll want different things for their different clientele. So you're kind of more of a brewer and transporter, which ties back into having a seaplane. And I mean, can I just stop and say, I don't remember any game ever having a seaplane mechanic, and the landing on the water and taking off is so wonderful. You can see all the little sea life cruising around underneath. Like, the devs did this so well, it's wild. But yeah, you mix all your ingredients in and you have recipes, you have requests, and it actually gets quite involved. You have percentage yields, like your main ingredient has to be over a certain percentage for it still to be that. You can ferment or you can distill to get different end products. So if you want cider, you have to be fermenting for that. You've got different star rating systems. You've got a percent alcohol volume. You add yeast to boost all that. It's very, very involved, but not overwhelming. Anyway, I don't want to go too long. In fact, I'm thinking of taking the overview format and going even shorter, sub 10, sub 8 minutes. Let's see how we go with this. Obviously, I'm gushing. There's so much more to this game that we haven't even touched on. I haven't really engaged any of the pirates, but from, the sort of promotional material and trailers, it looks a lot of fun. I've done, sort of little mini games trying to fish out crates from wrecks, and there's a physics-based crane system. So this game has a lot going on. And like I said, the biggest tragedy is it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to review it this week. But at the very least, we'll do this overview, put it on your radar so you can go out there and you can check it out yourself. Anyway, team, let me know what you reckon. Might just leave it there for the time being, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.